The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Hear it here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars cause it's live. And through the fight game, we can guide ya. Slick talking, putting them in caution. Passing all the goals cause the audio is awesome. What you waiting for? Spread the word, tell a friend. This the podcast where all of the discussion ends. When they start going strike for strike, this the show that'll tell you what you seen in the fight. And they ain't playing on the mic, this a welcome to the show. Warm it up for the squad, Haymaker of the bros. I'm about wow, you can hear from the pros. It's Haymaker Combat Sports, time to roll.
Welcome to Haymaker Combat Sports, powered by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. I am your host, EJ Reed, joined by my fellow co-host, Aaron Admire, Steve Johnson. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, happy Tuesday. Loving the weather. I had a pool party today.
Oh, that's what's up. Was this your first pool party since moving in?
Well, not really. It was just kind of an improv pool party. I didn't even plan it, man. Like, my old lady took the day off because her daughter had a dentist appointment, and then my daughter wanted to come over a day early. So she picked the girls up and took them to the dentist, and then she was like, hey, we're having friends over and we're cooking out today. And then she told me, she started adding people. Next thing I know, there was like 15 people here. So everybody partied while I worked all day, and then everybody just left like 20 minutes ago.
That's what's up. You still got that you had the pellet grill, didn't you?
I got rid of it last year. I traded it in and got me a flat top because I'm going to get me an offset smoker so I can really smoke some stuff, because my dad got an offset smoker and it was just like way better than anything I ever had with my pellet grill. Like, I like cooking with the pellet grill because you can control it, but the flavor of an offset grill is like just way different.
Welcome to the club, because I had the offset smoker. I mean, like you said, it's easier with the pellet or the electric, but like you said, that it's nothing like that smoky taste with the charcoal and the wood. And I mean, if you get what you call it, because I have a thermometer, electric thermometer, so I could monitor, make sure it doesn't get too hot or that the fire doesn't get too low. And it's not that bad. Because some people think it's just like such a big hassle, but if you have like a monitor, I have the app on my phone, I can still go inside and I'll just make sure that the temperature stays on track. If I have to go throw a log on it, I'll go back outside and throw a log on it. Or if I need to add a little bit more charcoal, I'll do that and then just go about my day. But you do have to stay close within the vicinity. I know some people with their electric smokers, they'll go all the way and start doing running errands and whatnot. But
yeah, I used to, because I had my pellet smoker was Wi-Fi, man. I would like go shopping all day and I could control it, run it up and down. When I started to head home is when I would crank the heat, and get it up to temperature and all that stuff. So yeah, I just want to get the offset, man. The flavors just, you can't even explain to somebody that doesn't know the difference how much the flavor difference is. Like the bark that it puts on the ribs and the briskets and everything, man. It's just so much different. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I did ribs a couple weeks back, and like you said, that bark on it, it's magnificent. But did you ever figure out what you were gonna do with I think you were trying to shop for a robot to clean the pool?
I did. I got one, man. It's pretty neat, man. Like, I always thought it was gimmicky shit. Like, I always heard that they broke and like didn't last. So far, this thing is badass. Like, it's got a little basket in it. I push the button, I throw it in the water, and for 3 hours, it just drives back and forth and like sucks up the shit, and it'll just run out of battery, and I got to pull it out, and I dump the little basket, recharge it, do it again. Like, this little bastard just crawls all over, man. It's cool as shit.
So it actually works, huh?
It does, man. I'm surprised. Like, it's one of the things I had to admit, I was wrong about. It's pretty cool. Like, so far, it's worked, but it was $500. And that's on the cheap end, man. There's like $2,000, $3,000 ones that are wild. Like, it's got different modes. Like I keep it to where it cleans the bottom. It just runs on the bottom and picks up leaves and shit. But like it's got a different mode. Well, it'll climb the wall. It'll go up and down the wall, back and forth, scrubbing the wall. Like wild.
That's what's up. I mean, it seems like a good investment. It'll pay itself off in the long run, right?
It has already. It's already cleaned itself and paid for itself, man.
That's what's up. Yeah. Shit. You have anything planned for Independence Day or Shindig over there?
Yeah, already got a party planned for 4th of July, cooking out, having a pool party, family's coming in town. I mean, this is the spot now.
What about you, Steve? Anything planned for 4th of July or anything?
Nothing too much. We always wait to see what comes up, who's throwing anything as far as any activities. I know one of the things that I try to do is, go somewhere out of city limits, a friend's house where you ain't got to worry about, how late you pop fireworks or anything. But that's usually my main goal for 4th of July.
Yeah, we're in that summer holiday season. We got Juneteenth coming up, and then 4th of July. I'll have off for both of those. And I will be in Phoenix at a conference for 4th of July. So my parents will be out there too. So maybe we'll find a barbecue spot to kick it at and some fireworks on. I think it's on a Friday this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a Friday.
So go right
So
into it.
That might be a not like just every 4th of July, because usually you get these days off, people got to go right back to work.
Yeah,
and it's on a Friday, so you might get a bigger communion this year as far as friends and family available.
Yeah. So yeah, my dad usually throws a big barbecue on 4th of July, but he's gonna be out of town this week. So yeah, like I said, it's the summer holiday season. I know kids are out of school right now at mine, so I'm sure your daughter probably back and forth between places and stuff right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's back and forth, but I'm getting a little bit of favoritism. I got the pool, so she's working on her tan more. I want to hang out here. I'm the cool guy now.
That's what's up. And Steve, you got a house full of kids right now, so that's probably a little different, right?
Oh yeah, they don't sleep. They became nocturnal, man. As soon as school comes out, well, they sleep when they want. Just lounging around mostly, but they're enjoying it.
I don't know if y'all remember back when we were at school age. It seemed like summer lasted forever, and just wake up and not go to bed until whenever you wanted to, and wake up and repeat and do the same thing. But now I feel like, go ahead, Emma.
Yeah, I was gonna say it did. When we were young, it seemed like it was just long, man. And just the older I've got, man, it's not even summers. Just time flies, dude. Like, I don't even know how long we've been doing this. What, a year, maybe 2 years now? Like, it just seems like a couple weeks. Like, the older you get, time flies. It's crazy.
And we've been doing this over 2 years now. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it at all.
I feel like we should still be like last summer. Like, it should still be summer 2024 right now, because I feel like we were just talking about that UFC 300 show and that whole thing, and now it's a whole nother summer.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, it's weird. COVID was 5 years ago. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Yeah, it's like some kids don't even know what that is. Some kids that could talk to you in like a full conversation don't even know what COVID was, and they were in there. That's mind blowing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a COVID baby, like, they don't know what happened back then.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if it was on like SXM or something the other day, but like, there's kids that are like born after 9/11 now that are like doctors. There's doctors that are born after 9/11 now. Like, it's crazy that, if you think in terms of timeline, there's kids that grew up after Tupac died that are doctors and lawyers, and just, they don't know all these big life events that happen. When we grew up seeing that, even you guys, my age, when I was young, the internet wasn't even around. The internet wasn't a thing when I was young. It was probably around most of your guys' life, but it just wasn't even a thing when I was a kid. So I've seen it all.
The first time I can remember really getting into the internet, I was like in 4th grade. I was like 9 or so, and we had like the dial-up, and you couldn't really do anything on it because I remember my dad having AOL. That's how the way you could log on back then, and you had to wait for the dial. Only thing I used it for, like in 4th grade, was to look up lyrics for songs for my classmates. That's literally the only thing I could really do on there. It pretty off, but yeah, it barely existed when it really became a thing to like middle school.
Yeah, I posted that meme on Facebook the other day. I'm going to burn a CD, so don't call my house for 8 hours. That's how it used to be back in the day. Kids don't know about that shit.
The early Napster days, I don't remember Napster really being a thing till I hit middle school. You probably in high school, I'm guessing, when that really broke out. And yeah, like you said, it take like 2-3 hours just for one song. I didn't even attempt to like make a whole CD. I remember when we finally got dial-up, like in 7th or 8th grade, like not dial-up, broadband in 7th, 8th grade, and that was like a game changer. Then it was on and cracking. You could actually make CDs. It only take like 5 minutes for one song. Now you just click a button and it's on your phone.
It's funny you say all this. I was listening to a rap battle, and the dude said in the rap battle, "I'm from a time that you didn't know who you were talking to until you picked up the phone." I'm like, yeah, I'm one of those. Didn't know who you're going to talk to. And then caller ID came out, and so on. And some kids that are born in that or after that, it's their normal. They weren't born in the time to see how impact that was on how much you can connect to people or connect information. So,
yeah. And like back in the day, we used to spend like money on ringtones, and now that I'm an adult, my ringer hasn't been turned on my phone in like 5 years.
Yeah,
I don't want my phone to ring. I'd probably throw my phone if it started ringing and making noise.
Oh yeah, I don't want my phone ringing at all, because if I did have it on, it would ring at an inopportune time when I'm at like something important. Yeah, I keep it shit on buzz. That's funny. Like you said, I used to pay for ringtones. It was like the Soldier Boy era with the crank that. And, yeah. And, what was the guys that One Hit Wonder Mims? This is why I'm hot. I remember a lot of people had that ringtone and that era, and Laffy Taffy and all of that. That's the era.
When all that drill music came out back in like 04, 05.
Yeah, like you said, time flies. And hey, you either evolve or die, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did y'all do anything interesting this past weekend with the whole UFC event going on?
No, I didn't really do nothing this weekend. Just stayed home and I watched the fights, man. It got pretty late. It was kind of slow night, with the fights, but I made it through all of them.
Yeah, I know. You probably had to work on a Saturday, right, Steve?
Yeah, I did. Missed a little bit of the prelims. I probably finished right around the Ariana Lipsky, the end of that one, and the other girl. And then from there, I was kind of like on and off watching my kids and stuff, but paid attention to the prelims that I wanted to see in the main event.
Well, let's get into it. This past weekend, we had UFC 316 going down in Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, and it had a special guest in the building, the President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump. And like we said before, we don't get into politics in the show, but has a president been to this many UFC events? Any past president? He seems like he goes to a lot of events, like a sitting president. That seems interesting.
Any sporting event.
I don't think any president's ever been to a UFC event. Like, I don't remember like Obama or Biden or Bush or Clinton. I mean, what, UFC only came out in what, like 93? So Clinton, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Biden would be the only other ones outside of Trump.
I don't really remember sitting presidents going to sports at all, really. I think Obama may have been the first. I think he went to a Wizards game, but that's right in D.C.
I think Bush went to like the 9/11 or the post 9/11 Yankees game.
Game. But Was he popping up at like Rangers game? I know he had a part of ownership in it at one time.
George Senior went to some Rangers game, and I think maybe one of the presidents went to like a Super Bowl or something. Didn't Trump go to the Super Bowl too?
Yeah, he was at this past year. I mean, I guess he's got some extra free time on his hands.
But I mean, I think the whole climate of like kind of like what we were just talking about with technology and stuff, like everything's like shifted towards being seen and like a social media and like a popularity thing. So like times have kind of changed. I mean, I think it's kind of stupid for a president to be out there like that, but I mean that's
it's just kind of weird optics with everything that's going on, especially the National Guard and shit going on in California and just chilling at UFC. But hey, like you said, I guess that's just the new times we're living in where that's just the norm, I guess. But he was in the building, and I mean, it seemed like a pretty electric environment from what I saw on TV. Packed, early prelims, the crowd's still not usually there, but and they slowly but surely fill in. But getting into the early prelim results in the lightweight division, we had Markel Moretos defeating Mark Chawinski by decision. And in the lightweight division, we had Kulian Salki defeating Yanal Ajmos by unanimous decision. In the featherweight division, we had Yu Ju Song defeating Jekka Seragi by KO. And catchweight, the captains went up. We had Wang Kung, Ariane De Silva. I think this is supposed to be a 125 fight at flyweight, but did any of y'all get to see these early prelims?
I didn't watch it in the early stuff. I didn't get it until the Chaos Williams.
So I looked at the results and went back and saw some. I went back and made sure to see all the finishes for the prelims and the early prelims. And Yu Ju Sung, man, if y'all get a chance, go back and watch this guy. He wasn't really on. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, but boy, he's in the featherweight division, and usually at 170 and below, you don't really see a whole lot of hard hitters. But he caught Sergey. It was almost like identical to what Connor caught Jose Aldo with. I never seen a knockout that clean, and he face planted like Manny Pacquiao against Marquez. So if y'all get a chance, go back and watch that. So Sergey, he overcommitted to throwing, like I think he was trying to throw it right at him, and he like overcommitted and going backwards. Ju Song caught him with like a left hook, flatlined him. Like that's got to be in contention for knockout of the year. It was super clean, and I know you're usually able to pull it up real quick on online, Am. So if you get a chance to see that real quick, yeah, it was nasty.
Oh, yeah, that looked a lot like the Conor McGregor and Aldo knockout.
So hopefully they put him in another spotlight, right? Because like I said, I really think he's from South Korea. I think he's a South Korean fighter.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so I'm definitely gonna be checking out him.
That was clean. That was real clean.
Yeah, he did it going backwards. So if you get a chance to watch that, Steve, I think you would.
That was kind of like a Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva type move.
Yeah, he was going backwards, just left hand. And he like the way he flatlined, like he thought he was dead as far as Sergey goes.
I remember Stipe also. We're doomed. Caught him that way, backing up.
Yeah, that was in Brazil. They had that fight in Brazil, and the crowd went silent after that happened. I remember watching that live.
They say the worst ones is when you fall flat forward.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to be on suspension, medical suspension after that, Sergey. So
yeah,
but the Silva fight, former used to be Ariane Lipsky. She lost. I feel like that was one of the people they were trying to put their eggs in her basket, and she hadn't really panned out the way they thought she would. And she's 31, so maybe I'll go back and watch that. But
well, she lost 6 pounds, so I think their investment in her after that not going to be too good. It was terrible.
Yeah, she didn't make weight. That's I don't see if somebody knows they got a fight coming up, if they miss weight that bad, 132, that's crazy. So Yeah, so I guess half her check goes to Wang Kong, and she still lost. Like a lot of times, the statistics show that the person who weighs in overweight gets an advantage, but I guess not in this situation. So we'll see. But moving along to the prelims in the welterweight division, we had Andreas Gustafsson defeating Chaos Williams by unanimous decision. Heavyweight, we had Waldo Cortez Acosta defeating Sergey Spivak by unanimous decision. Light heavyweight, we had Azmat Mirzakhanov defeating Brinson Ribeiro by TKO. And then to cap this one off, flyweight division, we had Josh Van defeating Bruno Gustavo da Silva by TKO. And I know y'all got a chance to watch these prelims. Did both of y'all see the Chaos Williams fight?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't really show up.
How did it go?
I mean,
he
lost every round, and then two judges actually scored the last round of 8 for him. I mean, he was just pure dominated, man.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, pretty much. On the striking, he was getting the better of him, and even on the ground, just tiring him out, taking him down, getting back up, and he was just better in every aspect as far as being ahead of one step. Chaos Williams couldn't really get off, and you can see him trying to enforce his power, but he didn't have the footwork or the footing or the position to even land. Gustafsson had a good fight against a dangerous knockout artist, I think.
Yeah. Landed 8 takedowns.
He landed that many?
Yeah.
So did Chaos look like a fish out of water on the ground? Like, how come he couldn't adjust?
He just couldn't move. I mean, it's made a lot of headlines too. I mean, it was pretty ugly, man. Like, you know how bad you got to get dominated to score an 8 in a round?
Oh, he got is a 10-8 round?
Yeah, it was like 2 judges scored it a 10-8 round. It wasn't like one judge just thought it. 2 judges thought it was a 10-8 round.
It was that bad? Was he getting beat up down there, or he just was getting controlled?
I mean, it was both. I mean, it was like in the 3rd round, there was 5 takedowns in that 3rd round, and basically, I mean, Gustafsson landed like 71 strikes or something like that. And Chaos only got like 14 strikes that round in the last round. So, I mean, it was pretty ugly.
So, what do y'all think the biggest thing Chaos needs to work on after this thing?
Ground. I mean, we know that he could throw hammers, and, you know, he's got the windmill down, but yeah, I mean, he's got to be able to learn to get up. He's good size too. So, I mean, he's just got to be able to roll out of it. But I mean, Gustafsson's a big guy too, and, you know, really has good control on top and uses his weight real good. Just, you got to be able to escape, you know, you got to be able to do something.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, he's a strong fighter. I mean, I think most of the takedowns and the way he got back up was because of his athleticism and how strong he was. But I mean, technique should get you there as far as takedown defense and getting up. And I know that's what drained him a lot, because he was just getting controlled. And then on top of that, once you're worried about the takedown, I mean, you're worrying about dude had very good striking too. So you're worrying about the takedown, and, you know, he got popped a few good times too. And I can't think of a significant strike that Chaos did. He would definitely have to work on his takedown defense, because you can always work on your footwork to land that strike you want to. He has some type of fight ender. But, I mean, you can't do nothing if you're worried about the takedown and getting taken down. It really takes your strengths away.
So, how much of a step back that Chaos takes now? Because I don't think he was ranked, but he was like one of those guys that they're kind of marketing as like one of those knockout artists. where if he gets a couple wins, he could possibly, be in the top 10, top 15. So you think they match him up with like somebody lesser than next time, am I?
Yeah, or I mean, they're gonna have to pair him up with somebody better with a similar dance partner. I mean, if they want to keep him around, they know that they can't match him up with a heavy, strong wrestler like that. It's really got a ground control game. They need to keep him somebody that's going to stand up with him more. So, he's going to have to go lesser competition or evenly, the same style.
Yeah. Is this his first time losing 2 fights in a row?
Let's see.
Because
I think his last one was a KO, wasn't it?
he lost by submission last fight against Bonfim, but last year around May he got a win or KO by KO.
That's his first 2 in a row.
So, what happens when somebody usually hits the magic 3 in UFC? Their career, their UFC career or contract is on the line usually, but let's see. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. We'll see how it's all about matchups and styles as far as UFC. Like you said, if they put him up with somebody who likes to stand and bang, it's a good chance he'll catch them and able to get back on track. But I saw the Waldo Cortez Acosta fight, but I was like doing 2 things at one time. It seems like Spivak couldn't get out of gear and he couldn't get going. What did you watch that, Admire?
Yeah, on that one, pretty much what you just said. Couldn't really get anything going. I'm trying to remember how the scorecards went on that one. I think it was pretty much a clean sweep on that one as well.
It looks like Cortez got 30-27 and then 29-28. So a couple of the judges gave Spivak a round.
Yeah, I think the last round could have went either way, but I still think that Acosta did more. On my opinion, I think Acosta got up to 30. I think he won all 3 rounds. The other judges, 2 of them gave it to Spivak, but I think that Acosta pretty much, coasted to a win on this. He won every round pretty handily. He outstruck him. I think there was only 1 takedown, maybe 2 by Sergey, but he didn't really do anything with it. Yeah, I mean, nothing to write home about on that fight, but I think this one is a case of the underdog winning this one.
And did you get a chance to peep this one, Steve?
No, not on to see detail. No.
Yeah, it's heavyweight, so it only takes a couple fights or 2 to gain momentum. And was he even ranked, Admire?
Not that I recall. I don't think
rankings. I don't think he was ranked either, because I feel like he fought Span not too long ago. Yeah, he fought Superman Span, and I guess that fight was at heavyweight. I don't know why Span went up to take a heavyweight fight, and he's got that win over a loss.
Oh yeah, he was ranked number 8.
Wow, he's ranked pretty high. Yeah, hey, one more win and you'll probably be in that title mix, but we know the logjam they got at that division right now. So who knows?
Yeah, they jumped him up 3 spots. He's ranked number 8 now. I mean, so he would have been ranked number 11 coming into this. So he's up there number 8. One more win, he could get a title shot. The way that top 5 to 10 works with the heavyweight, you're always 1 fight away from a title shot.
Yeah, and that's 5 in a row for him. So in that division. Shit, that's like 8 or 10 in a row, because it doesn't take a lot to knock those guys out, all that power they have. So hey, that's what's up. Good for him. Let's see if he can keep that streak going. But with the Azmat Murzakanov, I did watch this, and he caught the guy in the temple. And usually you don't see a lot of, almost like the forehead, and he knocked the guy down. Did you get a chance to see that, Admire?
Yeah, It was close to a forehead shot. It almost reminded me when Eric Silva got knocked out, when he got punched in the forehead and knocked out. That's what it just kind of gave me a flashback of. It was close to that, but yeah, I mean, from as little of the fight there was, you could kind of just see that Osmond was just kind of winning the striking exchanges and had the edge already. It was just a matter of time before something was going to happen, because I think Ribeiro only got off like 5 shots, in the time that the fight went on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, it wasn't too much to it. I mean, it's light heavyweight, so we know those guys carry power. Did you get a chance to peep this one out, Steve?
Not the fight, but I significantly remember the replay of the KO, and they even the commentators brought up, even the select where he punched him in the forehead, toward him, and like you say, you don't see those too often. You don't want to punch there to break your hand, but luckily no injuries happened from that. But I can see how somebody can get dizzy from it, playing basketball, can accidentally hit in the forehead, that shakes the brain. So I can imagine a full-fledged punch to the temple/forehead.
Yeah, it wasn't like the cleanest, but he got the job done and was able to get him out of there. And I don't know, looking at the light heavyweight division, what's this guy's upside? You think Admire 15 wins, no losses, but Father Time is not on his side. He's 36. He turned 36 back in April. But looking at the light heavyweight division, the champion, he's not like a long range champion with Magomed Ankalaev. So do you think he could get into title contention as far as Asmat goes?
Yeah, I mean, he came up his spot. He's ranked number 11. I think this is another thing, like we just talked about with the heavyweight division. I think that with the right circumstances, you're always one fight away from a title shot. If one of these cards in the next month or two comes up and they need an emergency replacement for somebody up there at the top, if you fill that in and you win, get a big win, do them a favor, I mean, you're up there in title contention, especially against one of the big names. If something comes up, if they throw him in there against somebody like a Jamal Hill or a Jerry, or if, Alex, for some reason needs somebody to fight, if the rematch with Ankalaev doesn't happen, just anything can happen up there, because a lot of those guys have already fought, Roundtree, he put on that good fight before. So
yeah, we got
anything can happen.
We got a possible title eliminator coming up next week or the weekend after next. It's going down in the Middle East with Roundtree and Hill fighting, so they might make the picture a little bit more clear. Like you said, anything can happen. So
that's what I'm saying. With Asmat coming off this win this weekend, and then you got them two fight next weekend, pair up the winner with him. I mean, they're all in that same, Asmat's at number 11, Hill's at 4, Roundtree's at 7. They're all in that same range. So anything can happen. Anything can shake out.
What do you think, Steve?
Definitely, I agree. And I'll wait till we talk about the next fight. But he got it done in round 1. He's fresh. So, like you said, anything can happen. I mean, and then on top of that, if there is a replacement with the two, you got a person that can tell the story behind the fight between, Hill backs out or the other Roundtree. You have an undefeated fighter. So, I mean, I think he's highly valuable and about to sneak up an interjection of, contention for the title.
Yeah. Like I said, the only thing that may cause for pause is his age, but I don't know. I mean, we saw how old was Teixeira when he won it. He was in his 40s, right?
Yeah, he was like 40-something.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like you said, it only takes a fight or two, somebody to drop out, and you're right in there. But going on to the last fight on the prelims in the flyweight division, we had Josh Van defeating Bruno Gustavo da Silva, and this was a master class, man. I was highly impressed with it. Like, he put on a boxing clinic, and with those lighter fighters, like in that, it's the lowest division as far as men go, and you don't really see a lot of power carryover down to that weight class. But like, I think it's one of the more exciting divisions when it comes to flyweight. And like I said, it was a couple times in that fight I'm like, oh, it's about to get stopped, but Bruno, he held down for as long as he could. And then towards the end of that third round, he got caught with like a right hand flush. He didn't go down immediately, but like he backed up in the cage and just dropped. And then, Josh Van just put on a plethora of strikes after that, and the ref called it off. But what are your thoughts watching this one, Amar?
Yeah, like you said, his boxing was real crisp and everything. And I kind of feel like lately we're kind of seeing like a resurgence of good boxers across, a lot of these different weight classes. So it's kind of good to see it coming back, because for a while, we had like this whole phase of like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, and then it seemed like the Dagestani guys with the Sambo wrestling took over, and now it seems like we're kind of getting some of the striking guys back with some of the boxing, and then like the what do they call themselves, the nerd guys,
fight nerds,
the fight nerds with like they're good at everything, but they're real heavy-handed and have real good striking. So it seems like striking's kind of come back full circle. So yeah, he looks good. I can't wait to see more.
What do you think, Steve?
Definitely about these flyweights. It's heavyweight or any in between there from flyweight. The pace can be slow, but these dudes can keep a whole pace for probably, if it's championship, a whole 5 rounds. And that's why I like flyweight. I would like to see him a little bit more, to see as far as like not so controlling the fight, maybe adversity, what he does with a good wrestler, very, very good wrestler. But he looked very sharp. And then based on that, I think he should very well have opportunity of what they've said about what his opportunity is available for him. I don't know if you're going to bring that up, but he definitely well deserved a title shot with that performance, or not a title shot, but a contender that's real close to the title, to maybe get a good spot to get a championship fight. It should be an opportunity for him.
So offline, we were kind of talking about it, and you said they might have something already lined up for him as far as Josh Van goes.
Yeah, and they say Cape Manuel, he sustained a foot injury, so they're looking for him to fill in this next coming up weeks, to fill in for that fight. So I think he's got an opportunity. Hopefully he didn't sustain any injuries, and hopefully he's still fresh and still in camp mode to keep on going. I think he might even have an advantage. Who knows?
And Cap was supposed to face
Brandon Royval.
Brandon Royval is ranked number 1, so that would definitely be a jump up in competition for Josh Van. See, I'm a little bit torn, but my first instinct is saying shoot this kid to the moon. He grew up I think he moved to Houston at a young age, so he talks well, and it's a good thing to have somebody who could promote themselves, and especially in the lighter division. So I think you should probably try to position him to be the next up in that division. He's only 23. He's almost still like a baby, but if he put on a performance like that, and if he could put that on against a top 10 person, like I said, shoot the kid to the moon. Let's see what he has. I think Roval, that might be too much of a big step in competition. I forgot how high Roval was ranked, so I don't know. I'd like to see him maybe go against like an Alex Perez, or maybe a Cap of 6. But yeah, I like what I saw out of the kid, so I'm interested to see what happens with him in the future. But moving right along to the main card, finally. The curtain jerker for this one in the welterweight division, we had Kevin Holland defeating Vicente Luque by submission. He got a Bravo choke. I picked Kevin Holland, and Steve and Admire picked Vicente Luque. So early on, Luque got a hold of Holland's leg, and was hitting Luque, and he was once Luque got Holland's leg, Holland was trying to hit him with some shots standing up from the clinch, and he landed that big elbow with about 2 minutes left in that round, and Luque cracked him back with a left hook, and with about a minute and a half left, and I mean it was a decent round. It was back and forth, and then in round 2, with a less than a minute in the round, Holland got that trip, and then was able to get the Bravo choke. And I was kind of, even though I picked Holland, I was surprised it ended like that, just because how high level Luque is as far as the grappling goes. What were your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Man, I'm usually a big critic of Holland, and I talk about it on the pre-show. When I pick him, he loses. When I pick against him, he wins. I'm never picking against Holland again. Like, this version of him was awesome, and like he kind of talked about it after the fight. He watched Ali that day, so he was pumped up. Like, the aggressive version of Holland, that's a dangerous dude. Like, just coming forward, maybe not the smartest style. I mean, even his chin was kind of up. Like, he just threw caution to the wind and went straight for it. But sometimes for a fighter, that's what you need to do. It worked for Max Holloway all those years. Kevin Holland pushing forward like that, putting the pressure on. I think, Luque's camp probably trained for a different style of Holland that they've always seen. You can't prepare for that style if Kevin Holland comes at you like that. It was just so unpredictable, and I was so surprised by it. And I was impressed. I was just like, wow, man, that's a dangerous guy right there. If he continues to fight like that, yeah, great job to him.
Steve?
Yeah, he was very confident. I saw the first round, and I was like, well, I guess this is the fight I picked wrong, you lose. He likes to switch attitudes on me. When I want him to win, he wants to be intimidated. But he looked like he knew. And plus, this was a welterweight fight, right?
Yeah, welterweight.
I think he has a lot more confidence in welterweight as far as defending takedowns, as far as like his size against Vincent Luque was significant too. So I think he knew, if he knew he couldn't get taken down, I think that makes him very confident.
So kind of piggybacking off what Steve said, I mean, he's the guy that floats back between welterweight and middleweight. Is welterweight the division he should just stay in at this point, Admire?
I think so. I think he's really good size when he's at welterweight. Like, he gets some of that size advantage out of it too. When he's at middleweight, he's still good size, but I feel like his frame is just a little bit smaller than those middleweight guys, and they kind of get the best of him when it comes to kind of the strength part of the exchanges and getting up against the fence, some of that dirty boxing and stuff. He just kind of gets pushed around a little bit. So I think welterweight's where it's at, especially if he's going to bring this style to his game. If he's going to start being aggressive and pushing people around like this, use his size to the advantage against smaller guys and see how he can make it work.
Yeah, like that seems like a big jump too. That's like one of the biggest jumps in division is middleweight and welterweight. It's 15-pound difference. So I don't even know. I guess he just doesn't want to cut weight. Like, I don't even know why, because he's a thin dude. Why does he even try to go at middleweight? I don't know what's the reasoning behind that, but seems like he have more advantages and more tools at his disposal down there at welterweight. And look, this is 2 in a row for him. So he's one of those guys that's almost in that gatekeeper position. We know we could call on him. We want a fun fight, action-packed fight. He talks to people while he's fighting, so he's a big trash talker. I feel like he's in they got him in the kind of the Donald Cerrone or Derek Lewis type position. Is like one of those fun fighters that they ain't gonna win the title, but we can call on them. So like, who do you even pair him up with at this point?
Man, I don't even know who you pair him up with. It seems like he's fought everybody, but he hasn't really fought everybody.
Like you said, time flying by. It just seems like he fought MVP like not that long ago, and he's had 5 fights since then. That's crazy how How often he fights.
God, and that was like a little over a year ago, and he's had a lot of fights. Like, so yeah, I mean, that's a good comparison. He is like the Donaldson Cerrone of it. Like, he's kind of filled that gap. I don't even know.
That's got to come back and bite him in the ass because he's like 33 or so, 32, like fighting that often. That's crazy.
I mean, I'm trying to even find somebody that he hasn't fought yet. Like, I was going to say, like, I don't know, Stephen Thompson, but Stephen Thompson already beat him. But
yeah, he beat him by TKO. He fought Hamzat.
I'll say to steal his light from him, to get it back because he already took it. Fight Buckley again in welterweight. Call him out.
They fought each other already?
In middleweight. Kevin Holland knocked him out.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Performance. This was back during the pandemic. So, yeah, I wasn't going to remember that. But
if he uses his mouth and he might start up and, start something to where they might want him to go fight Kevin Holland before he goes and get a title shot.
Was there something why he hasn't fought Jeff Neal?
Probably, I'm guessing the stars having a line. I don't think there's really.
I thought there was something why they haven't fought. I couldn't remember if it was like they were on the same team or something because I can't remember. Maybe because they seem like two guys that are really close in style that they would have crossed paths at some time.
Is Neil Magny still on the roster?
That'd be another good one for Holland too.
Oh, they did fight each other. It wasn't in UFC. Holland and Neil fought each other. It wasn't in UFC though. All the way back in 2017 at extreme knockout 34. Neil got him out of there. So yeah, they can run that back in the UFC though, like you said. That's nobody knows about that fight. So yeah, I mean, at this point, is he even ranked right now, Admire? I guess just put him in fun fights right now. And if he gets like 4 wins in a row at welterweight, then you could sell to the people, put him in, like if somebody drops out of a title fight, maybe throw him in there really quick. But I think you gotta get at least 4 wins in a row. You have to get 2 wins because he'll be going on a streak and then he'll lose one because he fights so damn often too. So that probably what goes into that. He'll lose 2 in a row and then he'll win 2 in a row and he'll bounce back like that. So probably
has Holland ever fought Gilbert Burns?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's a big step up. I mean, because Gilbert's hung around that top 5 area, but I mean, Gilbert Burns is also, I think he's lost a few in a row. So Gilbert Burns is ranked at number 10. Holland's at 14. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be a fun fight. I don't think they've fought before.
I said run it. Burns just coming off a loss. So Burns just fought on the last card, didn't he?
Yeah, one of the last ones.
One of the we talked about it on here. Oh yeah, it was against Morales. That was a fight night. So me and Steve were talking about that actually. This is off air though. Yeah, Burns might be. I'm surprised Burns hasn't get cut. That's 4 in a row he's lost. So yeah, maybe have him paired up with Holland. If he loses, then Burns is essentially just fighting for his job. But to give Burns the benefit of the doubt, he's been fighting some high level dude. He's fought 2 champions. He lost to Bilal and Jack, lost to Sean Brady, who's in contention. So yeah, maybe it's time for Burns just to take a step down in competition, and it's a chance to get Holland a step up. So I wouldn't be mad at that. I say run it. But moving right along, bantamweight division, we had Mario Bautista upsetting the debuting Patchy Mix, unanimous decision. All 3 of us had Patchy Mix, and Bautista was just literally beating Mix to the punch and sharp with the stand-up and ripping those body shots. I don't know. It looked like just Mix was just slow. And then more of the same in the round 2, and was a better round for Mix in that second round, but Batista was more accurate and kept digging into that body. And round 3, more of the same. Batista outstruck Mix most of the round, except for 2 left hands Mix landed with about 30 seconds left. But I don't know. It just seems like something was wrong with Mix's eye too. Like he was like blinking weird. It looked like he had some trouble seeing out of it. What are your thoughts on this one, Amir?
Yeah, man. Like I picked Patchy Mix. Like, dude's an awesome fighter, and the whole time I was thinking, I was like, did I think that he was a great fighter because of his competition in Bellator? Like, what is going on? Like, it didn't seem like he was the same fighter that I'd watched before, so I just didn't know what it was. But then, like you just said, I think he got cracked in the eye early, and I don't think he could see real great because it's not the same guy that I've seen fight before. But I'm not taking anything away from Batista because he fought the perfect fight for what he was against. I mean, he was ripping the body. He was coming with all the angles. He was doing great. But I got to bitch about the judging a little bit because one of the judges did give the last round to Patchy Mix. And like you said, Patchy Mix landed like 2 lefts at like the end of the fight. And that just goes to show a judge really ain't paying attention to the whole round, because the stats on the last round was Batista landed 65 and Patchy Mix landed 27. So double the shots, and one judge gave it to the fighter that landed 2 big shots at the end of the round. So that's how flawed the judging system is.
But to push back on that a little bit, it's not karate fighting, so you can't pit pat, and then you can still lose a round if somebody gets 2 big shots on you. So it just depends on, I guess, on, like you said, how the judge views that. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over that if it's like it's people are focusing more so on damage. But even with those 2 big shots, though, I don't know if that could justify how much he got outstruck. But if you land,
I thought that third round was pretty one-sided, just like the rest of the fight. I think Batista just handled that perfectly.
What do you think, Steve?
Like I said before in the last podcast, I didn't see, and I still haven't seen his past fights. But I was seeing where maybe he can be like an advanced fighter. I was waiting for him to, maybe he's getting warmed up into the second round. And see that he was, trying to get his synchronization in with. Quite honestly, I think Mario Batista put on a masterclass. I was upset what he did to Jose Aldo. Didn't want to deal with the striking. Did the ground game on him. But considering Patchy Mix also is a good striker, I think he did a good job. And not only that, outstruck the striker. Like I said, hit him to the body, jabbing the crap out of him. I think he just showed a masterclass and then just redeemed his last fight, to me, the way he was landing those shots were a lot of them were pretty clean.
So Patchy Mix's bread and butter, he's black belt jiu-jitsu. He's a submission ground guy, and it feels like he didn't really do anything to set up getting into where he's comfortable at on the ground. I don't know. We saw that was the BJJ specialist that was in the middleweight division. He was one-sided, and he didn't do anything to evolve his game to
Dylan Dennis?
No, not Dylan Dennis. It was Damian Maia. Damian Maia didn't do anything to really evolve his game to set up to get to the ground. And it seems like I'm hoping Patchy Mix isn't in that realm where he's just one-dimensional and not able to set up, get into the ground, because all fights start off on the feet. So you got to figure out a way to wrestle a little bit better to get to where we know you to be a specialist at. So maybe the eye thing bothers him, but going back to what Admire was talking about earlier, these guys coming over from the number 2 promotion like Bellator / PFL. Bellator, they merged in each other. And this is another guy who came in and lost his fight. MVP won his first fight, but he lost. Then he lose one after that. And you got Ill Will Brooks, who didn't pan out, and Michael Chandler's up and down. Are we seeing now that the competition is that much more superior in UFC than it is in another big promotion, Admire?
I think it is. I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of it. We've seen a lot of those guys come over here and not make it. But I mean, the same can be said about somebody that I believe Patchy Mix beat for sure. Sergio Pettis couldn't make it over in the UFC. He went over there and did very well.
I don't know about Sergio Pettis. I don't know why. He maybe he's getting paid more in Bellator. He left the UFC on a win streak. I don't know why he went over, but you don't see that happen a lot.
Right, but there's been others too. I think like Ben Henderson. Like there's a lot of people that left the UFC and went over there to become Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader could,
definitely. He's one of those. Phil Davis.
I think Derek Brunson might have held a belt somewhere. Like there's just a lot of them. So we're seeing it both ways. A lot of them come over here. They don't really do much. They leave the UFC. They go elsewhere and they win a belt. So I think it does start to expose that because, another one is, like while we're talking about Patchy Mix, Eddie Alvarez, same thing.
He won a belt though, so he won a UFC title. So, but then he kind of flamed out after that. But yeah, I don't man. It's like, how could you really gauge though, like level of competition? I guess except for if you go head to head, right?
Right.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I would say based off the statistics of how many people came over, and I mean Chandler, that didn't pan out well for him either. Coming over and had some good fights, and I think he's up to par to, compete with the UFC fighters, but. Obviously we see he gets close and he just can't get the top of what UFC has to offer, let alone other ones. Like you said, Eddie Alvarez, it's an exception, but like you said, he fizzled out. I can't think of anybody that came over from another promotion and just smashed, the game. And I don't know how far you want to go back as far as like, Strike Force days and all that, but I mean, other than that, if you're competing with Bellator and the ones, like it hasn't been done. I haven't seen it.
It might be somebody we're not thinking about that came over there and went on a crazy streak. Even going back to Strike Force, like Ronda came from over there.
Well, I mean, like Anderson Silva came from Pride.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Pride was I think Pride had better competition than UFC when Pride was in his prime. But I mean, Daniel Cormier came from Strike Force when they merged and he tore it up. Diaz didn't. When Diaz came back over from Strike Force, he didn't pan out like he had.
Did Gilbert Melendez? Did he ever win a belt?
Yeah, he came from. Yeah, I don't think he won a UFC belt, but he came over there from Strike Force.
Mighty Mouse. And he can come back and probably still compete.
Mighty Mouse was a WEC guy, wasn't he?
I don't think he was WEC. He wasn't in the original WEC guys. I don't think.
What was Mighty Mouse? But WEC ended up like they were still running after UFC bought them, and they didn't have. They were just running as a.
He was a WEC guy, but he was never champion before he came.
Yeah, he wasn't champion. He won that flyweight tournament that the UFC held because WEC was running where they were just running the weight classes that UFC didn't have for a while, like the flyweight and the bantamweight
guys. Yeah,
and then they merged it, and then Mighty Mouse won the flyweight tournament when everybody thought Uncle Creepy was going to win it. Ian McCall, like they hyped that guy up a lot. Yeah, man. That seems like ages ago now, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, but UFC is just, I guess, like that's where all the higher talent want to go to, and I don't even know, like the Bellator basically folded into PFL, and PFL hasn't gained a lot of traction recently. One of the people that was most viewed over there, she's now in UFC, and we'll talk about her in the co-main event. So I don't know. Like you said, I just think it's level of competition is that much superior.
I'm looking through Strikeforce champs to see if any of them made it over to the UFC and won a belt. Did Overeem ever win the UFC belt?
Nah, he didn't win it.
Overeem didn't. Let's see. Dan Henderson.
He never won one.
Not a UFC one.
Nah, he never won a UFC one. He won Pride.
Jake Shields never won one.
Nope.
Luke Rockhold did. Luke Rockhold came over and he held the belt for a minute.
Yeah, Luke Rockhold won it.
Nate Marquardt never did. Clay Guida. Did Clay Guida?
No.
He never did. Cyborg.
Yeah, she won the featherweight.
Cyborg did. Okay. Misha Tate
did.
Ronda Rousey.
Yep, she won one.
Chris Weidman.
Yep, Chris Weidman, middleweight champion. So some did pan out from Strikeforce. It'd be interesting if you go over and look at the Bellator champion list. That's a more interesting one. Because Strikeforce, like, because UFC eventually bought Strikeforce, so they got a lot of those fighters that just merged in, and like I said, Cormier, he won one.
Let's see. Bellator. I don't even know. Well, Ryan Bader, I know he never had anything because the closest he ever got was John Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Davis, no. Corey Anderson, no. Hector Lombard, no. Gegard Mousasi, no. Ben Askren, no.
I'm looking
Rory
at
McDonald. Rory McDonald, did he have
he got
interim?
close. He got close. I don't know if he had interim. I know he had that hell of a fight with
Robbie Lawler.
Yeah. I'm looking at the list now too. Like, not like Volkov is solid in the UFC, but he never won a belt. Mousasi, he left when he was like on a streak, but he's never won a UFC belt. Ben Askren, we know he didn't win a belt. He got KO'd. I forgot he was in Bellator before he went to one championship.
Oh yeah, between the last episode and today, did you hear the news about Ben Askren?
What happened?
He's in the hospital, like on last I heard, like life support with pneumonia.
Jeez, that's crazy. Like some people think pneumonia is just being like a little cold. Like if you get a bad case of pneumonia, that could take you out literally. So
if I'm not assuming, I think it's from staph.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I think the headline was, if I'm not mistaken. They got a staph infection and then it got turned into a pneumonia real quick before they knew it.
Thoughts and prayers, wishing them a speedy recovery, because you don't want to see anybody go out like that. And he's a Mizzou guy. He wrestled at Mizzou, so hopefully it's a speedy recovery for him. Going back to that list, I think the only one I'm seeing is Alvarez is the only one that's won the UFC belt. As far as you got Pitbull on there, Usman Nurmagomedov. But his brother is in the UFC. Umar, Joe Warren, Pat.
Joe Warren. I think Joe Warren might have held a belt at one time over at WEC.
Yeah, that's something that I have to go back and look at. It's been so long. I don't see anything on there for Joe Warren. Joe Warren looks like he was he wasn't even in UFC. He was a Bellator lifer. Yeah, he was also in that dream promotion. But
Bellator Fighting Season 4. Did Jay Haran? Did he ever hold a belt over there?
Yeah. So I think we sifted through them all. So only Cyborg and Eddie Alvarez are the only ones to win belts in both companies. Yeah, maybe it's a competition thing. We'll see. I think it's going to be some more people trickling from PFL. I don't know how much longer it's going to last. So we'll probably see more fighters from over there come over to UFC. But moving along in the middleweight division, we had Joe Pyfer defeating Kevin Gastelum by unanimous decision. And early on this fight, I thought Pyfer was going to get him out of there. He cracked Kevin with that right hand, and it was almost over. But he let him recover, and there was not a whole lot of action in the middle part of the round. And with about a minute left, he caught him with that head kick and then dropped him with a big right hand. And I was like, okay, so I thought it was inevitable that he was going to finish him off. And that second round, he let Gastelum get back in the fight. He was headhunting. He was just looking for the big shots, like not setting him up with jabs, just looking for the big shots. And Kevin did a good job of avoiding the big shots and was able to throw some back of his own. And halfway into that third round, Gastelum caught Pyfer with a big left hook, and Pyfer got the takedown, but Gastelum got back up and landed the round with some nice shots, but wasn't enough to get him to win. But I don't know what your thoughts on this one, Amar.
Yeah, this was kind of a slow fight, but like any second something could have happened. Like it could have been over. Like they were both, throwing big heavy shots, and Pyfer was getting the best of it, but Gastelum was never really like completely out of it. For the first two rounds, Gastelum really didn't look that interested. Like he just wasn't that motivated to really seem like be in the fight. And then it seemed like towards the end of round two, and especially round three, he really turned it up and got a lot more aggressive, but it just seemed like too little too late. I don't know, man. I kind of mentioned it, pre-show, just talking about the career of him. Like he just never seemed to take it that serious. Like he would go on these runs where he'd win a really good fight. Like he won the Ultimate Fighter. He went on a good run. Then it seems like the motivation isn't there. So I don't know. I don't know how much he's in, the game, how much his head's in it. I don't know. It just,
as far as Gastelum goes.
Yeah. He doesn't always seem like his heart's always in it, especially when he's in the fight. Like, I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't try that hard. Like he's not the same fighter that he used to be. I don't know. It just seems off.
Like I said on the other show, I think some of his soul went away in that Izzy fight. And I don't know how serious he is about fighting, because if he's not at his true weight class, he needs to be at welterweight. Like, but he just wants to stay at middleweight, I think, because he doesn't want to cut the weight. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Funny you mentioned that, but I'll talk about the fight first. Gastelum, he to me, always in almost every fight, it's almost like he doesn't want to be there. Going through the motions until he's forced a shot hits him or wakes him up enough to where, like, any fighter doesn't want to get knocked out, so he kind of wakes up a little bit, starts throwing strikes. The first knockdown that Pyfer got had me invested in the whole fight, so I thought it was a good fight, let alone it happened multiple. When I see Gastelum, I also thought it's like he's been in the wrong weight class. When I look at his physique, his body is not even proportioned with his legs. I think it's comically a little bit funny. To where, like, and I've seen some of his food truck diaries and stuff like that. I think he likes to eat.
He's out there like trying to be like Kevin Lee, out there eating.
Possibly, yeah.
Keith Lee. Sorry,
yeah.
He's out there putting diaries with his food. Like, that's not a good look.
Oh yeah, he talks about how I saw. I think somebody put a clip probably around when he had to cut weight. He was tearing up some tacos, and then he's also had problems with weight cutting in the past. If I'm not mistaken, I think trying in welterweight, and I don't know if in middleweight he ever had problem missing weight, but I think that's where he's comfortable to where he can eat, and I think that might hurt his performance when he just, middleweight's not even probably in his weight class. Honestly, and that's where he's kind of hit a hump. He showed some things with Izzy Adesanya, but like you said, he's went down the drain ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be disciplined when you're a fighter, man. You're getting paid to fight, and you want to be online eating tacos. Like that doesn't show a lot of discipline. Like I'm sure he's doing it not in fight camp, but still, that's still not good optics. So when you do come in not looking as fit as you can and a little bit flabby, people are gonna go back to those videos seeing you eat, even though it was out of fight camp. So I don't know. I think if he wants to continue, he needs to be disciplined and go back down to welterweight. But we'll see how that unfolds. But moving on to the co-main event, we had women's bantamweight championship on the line. We had Kayla Harrison defeating Juliana Pena to become the new women's bantamweight champion. And before we talk about what happened after the fight, let's just talk about the actual fight, and then we'll get into the happenings happen afterwards. And that first round, Harrison used the striking to get on the inside and get the takedown. Harrison didn't do a whole lot with the takedown, but stayed busy enough. Then Pena, those illegal up kicks, she did it twice. And I like how the ref stepped in, no warning. He just took a point away, which he should have, because those were just blatant. Like, I don't know what Pena was thinking when she did that. But luckily, she didn't hurt Kayla too much with those. And second round was similar to the first round as far as Kayla being able to get in there. She worked to get the takedown, and this time she worked into side control. And about less than 10 seconds left, she got that Kimura, and Pena tapped immediately because she didn't want that arm broken. And your new women's bantamweight champion is Kayla Harrison. What were your thoughts on this one, Amir?
Yeah, dominant win, man. It went how I expected, but it was a fun fight for me because my old lady, she watches the fights with me, and she likes the women fights. She can relate to it. So before the fight, I was telling her, about these girls, and they showed, the pre-fight Juliana Pena. And she's like, wow, man, she's pretty. She's got huge muscles. Look at the size of her. I was like, no, just wait. Wait until they show Kayla Harrison. And she's like, holy shit, dude. She's like, this ain't even going to be fair. Like, and she was asking me, like, what are their fight styles? I was like, oh, Juliana Pena, she does this, this, or this. I was like, but Kayla Harrison, she's, judo, Olympic, she likes to throw around, get to the ground, do this, that. She's like, this ain't even going to be a fair fight. Like, if she's got those fucking muscles and her specialties throwing people around and getting a hold of them and doing submissions, like, this ain't even fair. And then exactly that's what pretty much happened, man. It just, got the, takedown and the control, both rounds. And then, it was crazy seeing those illegal kicks. That shit was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? It wasn't just like one. It was like 1, 2, 3. I was like, oh my God, man. But fight went exactly how I expected. I think the UFC is going to be happy with that. But I think Kayla Harrison's just size and her skills developed so much that she could be champion as long as she wants to be. We're going to talk about the next thing. Yeah,
and as far as that's funny that your lady saw the muscles and she's like, holy shit. But sometimes muscles always equate to fighting. Who's a muscle-bound fighter that got knocked the fuck out? Might have been the early UFC days. It was like,
yeah, but I mean, like even Brock Lesnar, he crumbled anytime he got punched.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He wasn't like super cut, but he was big. He had muscles. But I was thinking of I can't even think off the top of my head because of Yoel Romero. He had muscles, but he was dangerous in his heyday. But I think I might be thinking of somebody maybe in a different organization. But yeah, Kayla Harrison's muscles translate because she could throw people around with those, and she got those biceps for days. But what are your thoughts on the actual fight, Steve?
Oh yeah, she basically did a dominant masterclass. I think Pena, those up kicks, I mean, that wasn't a scenario to where like it was actual or like out of the trying to thrust out of the position. I think that was her character and frustration, kick her in the face. Not one like what do you call those type of kicks? Bicycle kick in her face. Yeah, she was wrong for that. And on top of that, I didn't agree with the ref standing them up after the point take. I think she took the point and let her stay positioned.
Yeah, that's what I was. I don't even know like the official rules behind that, but yeah, usually when you usually see the ref put them back in the position that they were in, that seemed a little odd that he made them stand back up. But I agree. Sorry to interrupt. I'll let you go ahead.
And then, of course, I think she did get the job done anyway. But but what if that can cost a fight right there? I mean, she earned every bit of it because she did the illegal kick. She loses her position, so like that needs to be talked about. Then, like I said, masterclass. She's able to woman handle it. Get her where she wants to. Kept her on the ground and just waited for that arm to pop out, get that Kimura, and
Yeah.
it was easy work. So
She definitely didn't struggle too much. And talking about the aftermath, so this was always rumblings about the former champion Nunes coming back. And when it officially happened, Admire posted it in the Discord saying she was officially come back. It was whispers, but it made it official. And lo and behold, after this fight, they panned to Amanda Nunes in the crowd, and she had a little bit of trouble. For some reason, it seemed like security was getting a little bit of trouble to come in the cage at first, but they got her into it, squared off, and they faced off. So it looks like that's going to be the big next marquee match in the division. Early thoughts on Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement to face Kayla Harrison for that undisputed bantamweight championship. I'll let you kick it off, Admire.
Did she already retire once and come back?
Nah, that wasn't her.
Okay, maybe I'm just thinking that Rousey retired and came back and fought her. But so this is Nunes' first return. Okay, I don't know, man. Does she have it anymore? I don't know, man. I'm always worried about when champions come back, especially people who were super dominant and then they kind of went out not on the highest. Coming straight back to fight somebody that is dominant like this, like that's a big jump up. Who was Amanda Nunes' last fight?
I think it was she fought after the Pena fight after she won her title back, and I think she only had one fight.
Irene Aldana. So she went out on a win. She had 2 wins that she went out on. She went out on Aldana and Juliana Pena, and before that, she lost the sub to Pena. So,
yeah, I mean that was her only loss in like
a long time. Yeah. So I mean,
so not like she was like an aging fighter.
Yeah, she wasn't scrubbing, but like just a loss towards the tail end there. So her last fight was exactly 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a long break to come back and fight somebody like Kate. Is it fair for Nunes to come back, jump the line? She's been gone 2 years. Yeah. She doesn't have a tune-up fight. Is it fair?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair because just how dominant, and it's not. And this some reason this is like the heavyweight division of women. This is the glamour division, and nothing's really moving and shaking right now.
Right. Well, okay. Let's say it is fair. Okay, that's fair. She can come back and do that. But is it safe? Is it the best idea? Do you think Amanda Nunes is ready to get in there with Kayla Harrison after being laid off 2 years?
That's a question that I guess will be answered. I'm thinking they might shoot for the MSG and stack that card. Hopefully we'll see John Jones on there. But before I get in my thoughts, what do you think? Your initial thoughts, Steve, before I get in what I think.
Oh yeah, this is a fight that will bring spark to the women's division. To me, come to think of it, it's gone a little dry. Valentina, got a win, but it's like, this sparks up the women's division again. I remember I was interested in Amanda Nunes fight. She came on, and plus Kayla, she impressed me. And plus, what's behind it? Amanda Nunes, she can be known as the Judo Slayer. This is a second gold. Wait, what was
Rousey got a bronze,
but
Kayla's got 2 gold though.
I should say.
Yeah, medals. Yep.
And this one is like all right, you're upgrading the whole backstory. You're up against a gold medalist, and
Not to
different
mention,
era too.
I'm about to say, not to mention the storyline of them being teammates, Amanda and Kayla, and Amanda left the gym because of Kayla.
I had no clue. So that boom, that's another storyline. I mean, there's so much riding amongst this. I think Dana's rubbing his hands like Birdman right now.
And the Birdman hand rub.
Yeah.
So I didn't even before Admire brought it up. I didn't even really think about the cage rust aspect of it. I mean, that is a factor. I was thinking more so of if Amanda goes in there and starts as Kayla, then what? I don't feel like Amanda's coming back for like a long run. I think she's coming here for a good time, not a long time. So what if Amanda beats Kayla and then now you got this star that you build up that just got starched by somebody who's not even going to be there for a long time? That's the more angle I was looking at, Admire.
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, at that point, if she does that, then the UFC kind of would need to pay her. Like, hey, can you stick around now? You kind of fucked up our plans. Like, can you stick around for another one? Give her a rematch? Can you fight a couple people? Let this division shake out? Because you're right, it does. Like, if she comes back for one, knocks off the top dog, it just is a bad look, and then it kind of changes the whole landscape. It makes the belt kind of illegitimate for a minute because it just resets everything.
That's just an interesting fight because, like you said, it's basically like an old school stand up versus grappler match. If Kayla just need to stay away from that big right hand of Amanda.
And I mean, Ronda was a judo expert too, and we see what happened. You got to get the fight to the ground first. And Amanda just unloads those hands.
I think even with the judo, Kayla is much better than Ronda was. But like you said, you got to get to that. You got to be able to get your hands on it. And once the fight gets closer, of course, we'll break it down in depth. But yeah, that's a high stakes matchup. Like as far as like just because like you said, the ages of both women. Because Kayla's no spring chicken too, but she's still 2 years younger than Amanda. So that's 2 more years you could squeeze out of somebody if you throw her to the fire and then she gets starched. I don't know. It's interesting, but we'll see. They definitely got money. I think it could headline a card on its own, but I think it'd be smart just to stack that up and have like another fight above that, and just I think a lot of people will buy that pay-per-view, but we'll see how things shake in the near future with that. But let's move on to the main event, fellas. In the men's bantamweight division, we had Merab Dvalishvili defeating Sean O'Malley by submission. And to backtrack a little bit, we all had Kayla winning that fight, the last one we talked about. We all had Joe Piper winning as well. And we all had Merab winning this one. And I mean, I think before when we talked about on the pre-show, it kind of played out how we thought it would. And round one, no, O'Malley came out with piss and fire a little bit, and he came out with that spinning back kick. I'm like, all right, so he's going to attack. But after that, it was a lot. He basically fought backing up basically after that, and he did a good job early on sticking and moving, using that jab to keep Merab away. But eventually, Merab kept pressuring him and cracked him with a hook and got the takedown. And O'Malley got back up, but Merab with that gas tank got another takedown and some ground and pound to finish off that first round. And then going on to round two, O'Malley did a good job of defending the takedown. There was a lot of cat and mouse in that round, but both guys landed some shots, but it wasn't a whole lot of volume. I think Merab, like I said, did a good job of pressuring O'Malley at that point and making O'Malley fight backwards. And finally in round three, Merab kind of figured him out and caught his groove. Like, I think they'll probably end up making this like a gift or something where Merab was carrying him around when he got the takedown. He was carrying around his shoulders for a little bit, and it was like, boom. And it was the beginning of the end for O'Malley at that point. He got him on the ground for the majority of that round, and O'Malley got up for a little bit, but Merab did and dragged him back down, and he got to that north-south choke and O'Malley tapped, and that was all she wrote. Merab was able to defend that bantamweight championship. And what were your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of went exactly how I thought. I thought Merab was just going to completely dominate it, which he did, pretty much completely dominate it. I think O'Malley kind of did what he had to do. He had to use some of the flashy stuff and try to just be unorthodox with it and try to catch him with something because, I mean, Merab's got it all. Like, Merab's got the striking, the takedowns, the cardio. So, Sean had to try something. But it just kind of shows I've seen a lot of different posts, different ideas about it. One of the UFC fighters, said, something about you're exposed. That's what happens when you get fast tracked to the title. It does. It kind of shows that, O'Malley really didn't have to fuck with anybody with a real strong ground game. Like, it's all just been kind of a stand-up way. But O'Malley really needs to train on the ground game for sure. If he wants to be champion in this division again, because Merab is just an animal. And I seen a meme or something that somebody made that said, like, your favorite fighter wakes up and is thankful that Merab, is in his own weight division, because if Merab, pound for pound, weighed as much as John Jones, Merab would beat John Jones. I mean, he's a complete fighter. Merab is going to be a champion for a while.
I mean, as fast as this sport evolves and moves forward, I mean, looking at it on paper, it looks like, yeah, he's going to be champion for a long time, but you never know at this sport. But yeah, I would bank on him racking up those defenses if he looks like he did against Sugar Sean O'Malley. But what were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Like I said, I don't think he was very confident in himself, Sean O'Malley. I think the whole fight, honestly, wasn't too much switched up. Maybe he saw a little different, like you said, catch him off guard. But, I mean, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't even, which I agree, to rematch him. It's just like, I think he's going to stay on top for a while. I don't think anybody even coming behind trying to even do the double champ stuff or above can even do anything with him. I think it set Sean O'Malley back. He's not going to get another title shot anytime soon unless he, I don't know, bulks up or something. Because that was just I'm trying to see what was the justification or what was the promoting behind why he got that rematch.
Bro, we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's politics probably. But yeah, I don't know, man. Before we get into O'Malley, let's get into Merab. Like, what's really next for him? Because looking at the rankings, they didn't even drop O'Malley down a spot in the rankings. He's still ranked number 1. So what happens with Merab at this point? Admire?
I don't know, man. I was just thinking about that. I was like, man, too bad. The only other fighter that I see right now that would be just a good test for Merab is Taporia. I wish there was a way to get them together and fight, but I don't even know if they would, because I think they're both from like the same country. So I don't know.
But and Taporia is a 2 weight classes above him, though.
No, Taporia used to fight a bantamweight like early in his career before the UFC. I don't know if he could still make it, but he used to be bantamweight like way back in the day.
He just gave up the featherweight belt, so
right. But I'm just saying, if they could do something, if Merab could move up to, if they could meet at featherweight, it'd be a fun fight. But realistically, Merab, I don't know. He's going to keep knocking off these guys up there at the top. There's a lot of fights that I don't think he's had. I don't think he's fought like Sandhagen.
Oh yeah, so Sandhagen was in the crowd. So,
but I think Sandhagen has a fight booked. I can't remember against who. I think he does have something booked.
You sure about that? You sure about
does
that?
He?
I don't know, man. They showed him in the crowd, like basically they're positioning him for that fight to happen next. I don't think he has any. I don't think he has anything lined up. He just fought. He just fought Figueiredo back in May.
Oh, well, then maybe that's the fight they're going to make. I thought Sandhagen might have had something lined up. Well, that's the fight to make because Merab hasn't faced him. I think Merab's faced a lot of the others that are kind of in that area as far as rankings.
It's still a few fights that they can still make that he hasn't fought. He already fought Jan, like he fought Aldo. Dodson. So yeah, this he hadn't fought Song Yudong. That would be fun.
Yeah.
He just beat Umar. I don't think they had him and Cheeto. I don't think him and Cheeto fought. So there's a few ones, but I don't see them going favorably for anybody that he faces. So, but I'm so tired of them trying to do super fights. So maybe they could just build up people ranked below 10 and try to quote unquote fast track them and get them up to speed. You got Bautista, he just got to win. So you're just gonna have to have them keep climbing the ranks and keep rolling them out. And maybe we just here for the ride and just watch them stack the wins. So before we talk about O'Malley again, there's been whispers. They're saying that Merab is the greatest bantamweight of all time. I don't know if y'all agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with it yet. I mean, is he a great fighter? Yeah. Is he probably the best fighter? Yeah. But being the greatest of all time isn't just about being, the best fighter. It encompasses being a good champion, having, a good run, all that. He's got some good wins, but he doesn't have the full resume. He's got, O'Malley twice, Umar, Cejudo, Jan, Aldo. I mean, he's got great wins, but I still think there's some others up there.
So, I mean, I think, do people overrate Dominic Cruz's run? Because you could only people that are in this conversation are, you put Dominic in there. Of course, you put Aljo in there, teammates. And then you put Renan Barão in there. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but to me, when you talk about the greatest, I don't just count how good they were. I'm saying I encompass the whole thing. Dominic Cruz became a commentator. He was a good ambassador for the sport. He fought all the top guys at the time. He ran through the whole division. So he had all the different attributes. He just didn't have the one thing. The one thing Merab has right now is he's so good, but he doesn't have the full resume. He hasn't been around the whole block. I don't know. He isn't a big ambassador of the sport from what I can tell so far. He isn't a poster child for the sport like Dominic Cruz was for the WEC back then.
So I'm looking at he had the WEC and the UFC careers. I guess you could look at both of those and combine them. Kind of. He only defended the UFC belt 3 times only. That's still a pretty big feat. But he defended the WEC twice. So 5 title defenses. That's nothing to sneeze at. But I think if you're Merab and you defended 3 more times, I think you could throw yourself in the conversation. Because I don't know, man. For some reason, I just look at Dominic Cruz as just being injury riddled. That kind of rubs me the wrong way for some reason, looking back at his career.
Yeah, I mean, he missed a lot of fights because of all of his injuries. So I can see that too. And I mean, he did lose to some people that went on to lose more,
Garbrandt.
Cody Garbrandt. Yeah. Cody Garbrandt made Cruz look really bad. And then Cody Garbrandt went on to just lose a lot of fights.
Yeah. Dominic Cruz only lost 4 times. That's pretty good too. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I was looking at his past fights, and I definitely can't take away some of the people he fought. I can say when he starts, Dotson, I can give him that. But when he starts getting to the Mariahs, and then on up, Aldo, Peter Yan, Cejudo, of course, O'Malley, then Magomedov. I mean, I can't take that. He's starting to be on, and some of these people are older, but he's starting to have his own murders row as far as like to give credit to him. The best I can say, he's on his way up to be a few more wins. He'll have a good track record of a good list of people that he beat. Because some of these people were actually, some are dogs, and he's beat them.
Yeah,
Like I said, the only time he's lost is that Ricky Simone lost, and I think he shouldn't even lost that. That was when Simone got on top and had a guillotine while he was on top of him. He was kicking and kicking for like a minute, and then the round ended, and Ricky Simone was trying to say he passed out, and he was like, "No, I didn't," but they gave him it's funny. It says a KO right here, but it's supposed to be, I guess, submission.
technical. Yeah, I see technical submission there. What I'm looking at as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, looking at it as a whole, just because Merab's got more losses than I thought. Like you said, that shouldn't have been a loss, but him and Cruz are at 4 losses, and you got to put in the factor how many times Cruz defended it. So
yeah,
I guess right now I have to give the edge to Cruz, but if Merab stays on track, he has a good chance of surpassing that. So, it looks like Sandhagen is going to be the next one. So, but before we get on out of here, closing this out with O'Malley, I don't know if it was Steve or you might talk about that. Like this match shouldn't have been an immediate rematch for O'Malley. I feel like UFC is just so fixated on making him like the next Conor, but I don't know. I don't think Conor was a lightning in the bottle too. We see how Conor wasn't well-rounded, and it seems like O'Malley is kind of a one-trick pony. Like he's got that knockout power, but if he can't catch you, and it's not much he could do, and he's got the hair, or even though he didn't have the hair, he was taking this camp more seriously. He didn't have the dyed hair this time, but it seems like UFC's been trying their hardest just to make him one of the faces of the company, and they kind of fast-tracked them, and now it's not panning out. Now what they have, they kind of have like, I don't want to say a broken fighter, but this probably hasn't done well for his confidence, throwing him back in there so quickly. And now he's lost. So, like, where does he even go from here now, am I?
Yeah. I'd expect to see him to probably bounce around to another weight class and just try it somewhere else, because he sees what he has to face up there. He's already lost to Merab twice. They're not going to give him a third shot unless he does something, he's going to have to do a lot to get that third shot, and it's not going to be immediate. So his best bet, if he wants to hold a belt again, bounce around to a different weight class. But I think the UFC is going to stop throwing all this extra into him, after he just lost twice. I think they were trying to make him into the next Conor, but I also think that Conor got protected a lot more. I think that, in Conor's case, they kept him away, somebody like a Merab. They, until it was time that they couldn't protect him from like Khabib. Because, almost everybody that Conor fought was a stand-up fighter just like him, or if they happen to have a little bit of wrestling like a Chad Mendez or somebody, it was a real short notice fight. It was never somebody that was just, real wrestling heavy. So I think Conor got a little bit more protection than Sean O'Malley did. But
really, I think they got the same amount of protection, really, because he didn't have to face a wrestler like that until he got the belt and had to face Merab. Remember, because like that was kind of the thing, that he got fast tracked and he wasn't really facing wrestlers like that, and he had that weird decision against Peter Yan where people thought he lost that fight, and I don't know.
You don't think Sterling, is a good ground guy with wrestling and stuff?
Yeah, you could throw Sterling in, but that was for the title. I feel like on the way up, both of them kind of had a similar path, like Conor and him.
That was a controversy of a quick turnaround, wasn't it too?
Yeah, they made Aljo fight like 2 months after he just defended the belt, and I think that was a questionable stoppage too. So I feel like it's similar protection. Both him and Conor were protected a good bit. you might give the edge to Connor, but I feel like they still were both protected, like on the way up.
Definitely both were protected. But yeah, I mean, I would expect. I mean, just my guess. I think the UFC is going to stop pushing him so hard. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do keep pushing him. But if they do keep pushing him, then you're going to see him against more stand-up guys. Now they see that they can't put him against somebody that's really cardio and wrestling heavy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm in agreement with that. But what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I could say the plan got exposed. You know, this was the last one to say, "Hey, I was off, new game plan," and I mean nothing. You know, so he really has to reinvent himself. I mean, you already won. You can consider you win championship. Admire, like he said, a featherweight maybe could. I can give him a little leeway of going and doing that because I can say he can possibly be around the same frame as Max Holloway. So I think he might maybe he has to try it himself to see how good he is in that weight class. But you know, you're just fighting behind you at this point. You're either giving other people opportunity or you gotta not let people make money off your name. You know, it's as far as like catapult themselves in front of your ranking. So he has the decisions to make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with y'all, but kind of in a different way. I think he should change weight classes, but I think those featherweights will be too big for him. So it might seem a little crazy, but maybe he should think about going down one more class because Cody Garbrandt, he did it. People didn't think he would be able to make flyweight, and he went down there. Then end well for him, but maybe O'Malley could cut down the. It would be a terrible cut, but maybe he can make it work down there. I think he could get the belt down there actually. Even though we got Pantoja is the champion down there, but I think he might. So maybe he could try cutting 10 more pounds, which is saying a lot when you're that thin, but I don't think he'd fare well at featherweight. I think those guys would toss him around. So I don't know. We'll see. But like you said, they got to go back to the drawing board and figure out something with him because he's still ranked number 1, but he's like 30. So he's a little bit of damaged goods, but he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He just at the wrong place at the wrong time with Merab being on top. But we'll see. We'll see how things shake out. But it's getting late early, fellas, so we're going to get on out of here. But this is a action-packed month as far as fights go, so I might do a bonus show maybe next week if time permits. I don't know if it's going to be a quick or full-on episode because in Atlanta, we got Usman and Buckley throwing down, and it's a pretty decent undercard too. We got Rose co-main event against Miranda Maverick. Got Edmund Shabazian on there against Petrosky. Cody Garbrandt is fighting. Speaking of the devil, he's fighting Barcelos. Got Cody Brundage fighting on that, and Alonzo Menafield kicking off that card. And even you got Michael Chiesa on the prelims, and Court McGee, Paul Craig is on there. Cody Durden, Steve was just talking about Ricky Simone. He's on there. Phil Rowe, like that's for a fight night card. That's like pretty solid. And I don't want to talk too much about this. Imagine it some supercars they could have if they were like combine that with a pay-per-view, like combine that and make a mega pay-per-view instead of having this as a fight night. But I don't want to go too much off on that. And then a week after that, they got an ABC card with Hill and Roundtree headlining that. That's happening in Azerbaijan over there in the Middle East. Why they going to that country? I don't know. That seems pretty random because I had to do my research on that country. It's not a big country. But I looked on the card. It's a bunch of fighters from over there. I didn't realize how many fighters from over there. Rafael Fiziev is over there, from over there. Musa Yaev, he's fighting on there. He's from over there. Like, all right, that's interesting that a country like that has so many fighters. And then the week after that, it's another pay-per-view. We got another June pay-per-view. So we turn back around and cover that. We got Oliveira and Topuria. That's going down in Vegas. That's fight night week. That's June 28th. So like I said, it's an action-packed June for UFC, and we'll keep y'all posted on the schedule. But that'll do it for us here on Haymaker Combat Sports. Until next time, be safe out there. Later.
Hit the takedown, ground and pound, that was from the top. Heel hooking on one plot, I leave you in the knot. Pound for pound, been the greatest. Sitting on the top, man, I'm laughing at the fools who think they coming for the spot. You ain't got a shot, it's already mine.